So today we finished, I'm sorry, yes, was it yesterday, right? Yesterday we did we meet twice or only in the afternoon? I've forgotten.
In the afternoon only.
We didn't meet in the evening, eh?
Yeah. You said you had other classes.
Sorry?
You said you had other classes.
Yes, I did. Okay, so yesterday we finished discussing in national income accounting. So today we will talk about business cycles. And hopefully, if we have time, we can move on to talk about inflation. So let me share the note number 4. I hope you can all see the screen I'm sharing. Good. So business cycles. Business cycles come in 2 shapes and forms. One, we can talk about business in cycles in relation to businesses.
Is it just me or the lecture has dropped off?
Inango tower, I don't know, kuti chifukwa chani ka network ka.
Yeah. Okay.
So as I started talking about business cycles can be looked at in 2 ways. One is businesses themselves. They go through cycles. So you start a business, the business grows, expands, it reaches a climax, a peak, and it cannot grow anymore beyond that peak. And then it starts slowing down, sometimes going down with a trough, picks up again, and so on and so forth. So you reach a maturity stage of the business where it has grown to this maximum and then comes down again. So that's one part of business cycles. The other part of looking at this is that business cycles go together with economic cycles. So you have a situation where businesses are thriving most businesses in over a span of maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and then you reach a stage where businesses are going down, are facing difficulties. So you have an economy, situations where you have got booms and recessions or contraction. So this is very related to the issue of performance of economies. So broadly speaking, business cycles are going through fluctuations which occur in business activity with some degree of certainty. So for example, we always know that once the economy is performing very well, there will be a stage where the economy will go down. It's very unlikely that an economy will consistently grow and be in a robust shape for many years without any fluctuations. So fluctuations do occur. So this is to do with activities in the economy. So in their self as businesses, you have fluctuations, just like you have fluctuations in the aggregate economic activity. So you can imagine that if a number of businesses, maybe let's say 80% of the businesses are doing well, you expect the economic activity, the aggregate also to be recording a high rate of growth. And the same thing happens when a lot of businesses are not doing well. So there are issues of expansion and contraction alternating all the time. And in most cases, you can predict there is some kind of, pattern. And this pattern can be predicted in terms of duration. So you know that you can predict that this construction in the economy will last maybe a year or 2 or 3, and then you come out of it. So there is some kind of predictability in the sense that once you go downwards, you might be there for 2, 3 years. And when you are on the upward trajectory, you actually maintain that momentum for 2, 3 years. That's the idea of business cycles. So they have shown distinct phases where you can say, okay, these phases, and there are even attempts to give them names, these phases for which the businesses are going through. So for a business itself, you have a phase where you are starting up and picking up. It may take you a couple of years before you really, build up your business and it starts expanding. growing, reaching its peak. Once you do that, once you reach your peak, the only thing that will happen is for you to slow down. So in general, these activities for these businesses which have started and grown and become mature will also reflect the activities in the general aggregate economy. Remember, we were just talking about national income, where we were talking about aggregate, adding up what you and me are producing to get the aggregate production. You and me are consuming or buying to get aggregate demand. So in business production, in business cycles, it's the same thing that is happening here. So that's why I was initially letting you know that when you are discussing business cycles, they are very much closely related to what is happening in the aggregate economy. Apart from looking at analyzing individual businesses, how they start and grow and expand, reach maturity, and face a contraction, and then come out of it, and so on and so forth. So it's a cycle. A cycle is almost round, right? It's a cycle. You go up and down, up and down, up and down, like that, making a cycle. So in general terms, business cycles can be distinguished in the following manner. Let's forget about the startup. Let's move on to expansion. And that expansion will relate to a boom as well. So when businesses are expanding, you also get a boom. They're expanding because they have customers. People have money to buy. There's prosperity in the economy. Otherwise, if there's no demand, companies will not grow. So there's demand for your goods and services. There's a boom in the general economy as well. There's prosperity. So there's an upward swing. Then you reach the upper limit, the upper point. That's phase number 2 now. Now you have reached the top. When you reach the top, the only thing that will happen, the probable thing that we can expect is that there will be a downward swing or contraction or recession, even worse, a depression. So you are going down until you reach the lowest point, and that lowest point usually is called a trough, the bottom. You know, so it's I don't know whether we can call it U-shaped, but the bottom, because you come out of it again and start building back. So these things are related. So if you take phase 1, which is expansion and prosperity, in this stage, both output and employment is increasing. Businesses are doing well, they are selling, and because they are selling, they want to produce more to take advantage of the demand. And because of that, they employ more people. So resources start being employed to the maximum. You might actually get full employment. Companies are recruiting like hell because they're expanding, there is prosperity, there is boom, and production is at the highest possible level. So in this particular phase, you don't expect there to be any unemployment. Unemployment levels are supposed to be very low. And the only unemployment you will see is what we call frictional unemployment or structural unemployment. Let me define those. Frictional unemployment occurs naturally because some people have chosen not to be employed. So for example, a mother may decide to take maternity leave because she has just given birth. Or if she's employed in a company that does not allow that, she may actually go for unpaid. She excuses herself so she can look after the newborn baby. Sometimes people give up employment because they have to look after a grandmother who is not feeling well, or a spouse who is not feeling well, and they have decided to quit their job so they can devote more time to look after their spouse. Sometimes it happens when you are relocating. You are relocating from, let's say, Blantyre to Nsanje, and you are hoping to find another job there. So you leave your job and go to Blantyre, I mean to Nsanje. Unemployment also, frictional unemployment also happens because there is a gap between employing another person in a company. One person leaves and then they have to replace that person. And usually these recruitment processes take long to fill that vacancy. So there will be some kind of frictional, what we call frictional unemployment. This is happening at a time when there is a boom, there is expansion, there is prosperity, where you don't expect unemployment to exist, but you may still have this kind of unemployment, which is called frictional. And then you can also have some other kind of unemployment, which is called structural unemployment. This kind of unemployment relates to the difficulties in matching people's skills to jobs that are available. So when there's a mismatch between employee skills and job skills requirement, you may get what we call structural unemployment. So for example, some people get unemployed because the company has automated the production. So instead of, for example, packaging and moving property things in a warehouse was being done manually, now you want to do this with conveyor belts, with forklifts and all that. You don't want people to carry around things. So those people who used to be carrying around things get unemployed because their services are no longer needed. Or if you were old enough, you could remember, for example, a lot of government offices, they had what we used to call typing pools before computers came into these offices. Some of us started work when there were no computers in government offices. So if you want to write a letter and to have it typed, you would draft it by hand and take it to the typing pool. So there will be a lot of guys there with typewriters. They will type your thing, you proofread it, they do some corrections, and then you sign it, it goes. Now those typing pools are no longer existed. If you go to Capitol Hill, you will not find typing pools anymore. So those people who were typists had to retrain. So these are the kind of unemployment that can happen when job skills and people's skills are not matching. That's the only type of exception where you would still have unemployment in a situation where the economy is booming, businesses are expanding, there is prosperity. Now, here we are talking of a situation where there's a lot of demand, companies are selling, and therefore they are employing more people to sell more. They are increasing supply. Now, there is, me as an economist, I can tell you that there is danger there as well. The danger is that because there's too much demand and companies are employing a lot more people to meet that demand, they are trying to match supply with demand. Sometimes they may not catch up. So what you get, even though there is no unemployment, what you get is that prices start increasing. So there will be some inflationary pressures. There will be inflation. And we call that demand pull inflation, meaning there's too much demand. Now, when there's too much demand, companies are happy, prices are going up, they're employing more and more people, you are likely to crash. You cannot, it's not sustainable over many years. You can't. And that's why you will see that now you will start finding yourself on a downward trend. Because some salaries cannot match the inflation. And people's purchasing power starts getting affected because of the increasing prices. At the same moment, because people cannot match the rising prices, the salaries cannot match, companies cannot match increasing people's salaries as they are expanding and employing more people. So what will happen is that people will be not able to buy things the way they used to buy. Some of the goods will be out of reach. So these companies have been expanding. They have been employing more people, producing at a maximum level. Now people on the other side are feeling the pinch because prices are rising. So they are buying less. Now the companies will start accumulating inventories. And because they will be accumulating inventories, their warehouses start building up. When their warehouses start building up, they will start thinking twice about continuing with that level of production. So they will start to scale down because there's no more space in their warehouses. Because the prices have been so high that some people have stopped buying. So what does this mean? It means because now they have stopped producing, this will lead to laying of people. It will lead now to contraction. So this is how you should look at it. Why can an expansion and prosperity not be sustainable? Let's go to the next phase. So construction has to follow an expansion. Things have to, you can not have them better all the time. They have to go down. And so levels of employment start reducing, unemployment starts kicking in. Not because people want to not want to work. This is involuntary. People are just being laid off on a large scale. Investment starts falling as consumption starts falling. Remember, the expansion was driven by demand. And when demand exceeds supply, prices start going up to a point where some people cannot afford. So they start reducing. You used to buy, 100,000 kwacha, you would fill up your trolley at ShopRite. Now prices have gone up so high that you cannot manage to buy all that you want with 100,000. So companies, because they are not selling, they will not increase investment. They will not buy new factories. They will not plant new factories. They will not continue investing in more production. As consumption falls, investment also decreases. And aggregate demand also falls. Now, this cannot continue. Even though it will continue until you reach the lowest level, you start contracting and going down, 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 until you reach a very low point, which is a trough. It's only when you reach the lowest point that you start recovering. Now, because there was lack of investment, there was unemployment, slowly the warehouses start getting empty. Because the little that they are able to sell, and yet they are not producing, they have laid off people, the demand, the prices have fallen, because when there's excess supply, prices start falling. People have not been able to buy, people are unemployed, so the demand is low, prices start falling. And when prices start falling, the demand will start picking up. So the recovery starts picking up. Demand starts picking up. Companies now have to replace their depleted warehouses. They start employing some people. So as orders for new products start coming in, that's now encouraging producers to start producing. They start getting loans to invest more, start employing more people. So now you are again on an expansionary trajectory. So the business cycles are as shown on that slide. You have boom, prosperity, then you reach a peak. You start going down. You reach a trough. And then you start going up again. And from there, you can be able to see a trend. And in most cases, your new peak will be higher than the old peak. Your maximum in the previous cycle might be defeated. You might reach your peak at a higher level. Also knowing that as you expand, the population also grows, because these cycles are not like days or months. These cycles, what you see here as an upward trend and downward trend and upward trend, or the trough, that trough alone can take you a year or two. And then this upward trend can take you 2-3 years. A downward trend can take you 2 years. So what you see here is not as simple as if this cycle happens in days or months. No. It's a couple of months in each direction, each phase. Is there any question so far? Okay. People have tried to look at some causes of these business cycles. We have less than a minute left. So before we are logged out, remember, I should apologize. I'm using a trial Google, Zoom. It's not paid for, so its maximum is 40 minutes. So sometimes when I log in, it starts counting my minutes away. By the time we have a class, we have maybe 30-something minutes left. So now we're about to be cut off. So after 5-6 minutes, I'm sure it will allow me to log in again, because I've had a lot of lessons today. So because of the too many lessons that I've logged in, now it's giving me intervals. It says 7 minutes, sometimes 8 minutes, sometimes 5 minutes before I can log in again. So just bear with me.